Chinese Federation of Surveying and Mapping in Taiwan, how that organization is being working on together to integrate the academic and also industry and also governmental officers together into a well-established federation for the platform to develop some of the good technology in the surveying and also try to have some good collaboration in the future. I think I need to ask if there are any questions regarding Dr. Stenger's speech to introduce about the FIG. If there are any questions, any participant on the site or any one who is on the web, are there any questions to Dr. Stenger's speech? Stenger, I'm sorry. If they're not, let me ask Dr. Steigers again. Do you have any like, I know it's we're being arranged the panelists to give some kind of comment about your speech, and I think the Vice President Wang just make introduction about the Federation and surveying mapping in Taiwan's situation. Do you have any kind of any further comments or any good suggestion to what Vice President Wang was just talk about regarding the Chinese Federation of Surveying and Mapping activities?
I have no questions, no.
Do you have any kind of suggestion, like how we can be more connected to the FIG activities things?
Well, under normal circumstances, I would say come to our events, come also with your young people, try to interact and communicate with us, go to the commissions, go to the networks, try to be active. And of course, you should also do this under COVID-19. It's a little bit more complicated. It's more complicated. But as you can see, it's also easier. We don't have to use an airplane. We just can use our computer and internet and talk to each other very easily. So my only recommendation is be active, become part of the international community. And if you need support or specific hints, you should not hesitate contacting me, Vice President Chang in China, or all the other vice presidents. Okay. All of you who have been to Hanoi, they know we are very open, we are very constructive, and we try to be very collaborative.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
So I think President, I can help as an old vice president.
Sure.
Very
yes.
good.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I think the Chinese Federation of Surveying Mapping organization in Taiwan will try our best to be involved in some of the activities, either in the FIG working weeks or of course the Congress every 4 years. We were planning to really go to Amsterdam this year, but because of the COVID-19, we have to cancel, and also we'll wait to see what's happening for next year. But as Dr. Steiner just mentioned about, like the current temperature in Germany is about 3 to 4 degrees. The weather in Taipei now, today I think it's about 20 to 25 centigrade, and it's a little raining, a little cloudy, but it's really nice weather. You should come over here. Here is really very, very pleasant season, and Taiwan has very little impact regarding the COVID-19. I think the entire government and all the residents in Taiwan have been doing a very good way to prevent the kind of infection of the COVID-19. So that's why we can still have the on-site and really face-to-face the kind of conference, and most people still wear the mask, and we try to keep the social distancing as 1.5 meters we can. So I think hopefully we'll be able to meet a lot of expertise and all the professional academic persons in Europe next year. So I think we are, and of course we'll organize a team to work together.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So you have some more comments? Or some kind of presentation? You still have some more presentation regarding the challenging things of the FIG? Dr. Stenger, do you have some more PowerPoint you need to share with us?
So you can see the last slide we had? Okay. You can, okay. Now, as I said, this was the first part of my presentation. Now I would like to talk a little bit more about the last 30 years, our profession, our society, but also about FIG. So let me try to, okay. My term of office, when you start as a president, it's probably similar in your association. You think about a work plan, you think about the projects, you think about ideas, you think about the motto, what is important. And at the same time, there are conditions. Conditions like society and the world, technical, political, and whatever conditions. And there are also specific events around you, climate change, sea level rise, poverty, etc., which you want to take into consideration. Of course, everything is covered for the moment by COVID-19. For the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I will not talk about COVID, but of course, COVID is present. So let me go a little bit back 30 years. This is an image from my home country, Germany, 1998, when the famous wall came down, which was the beginning of a new global era. The division between East and West was stopped. And in the future, we became all more global. It was easier to travel. The technical progress started with this instrument in 1994. This is the first smartphone introduced by IBM. Technically, it was a sensation. Commercially, it was a disaster because there were no applications. There were no applications, there was nothing. Technically, it was brilliant. Commercially, zero. But then this started. We became all a mobile society, and this gentleman from Apple introduced the real first smartphone who became successful, which was the first iPhone. And I would like to give you an impression about what this instrument iPhone made with us as a global society. You see here an image in Rome, in Italy. The Pope of the Catholic Church is giving an audition in the year 2005. You see all the people who are attending. And now we see the same Pope, 8 years later, the same place. And what is the difference? The difference is nowadays, and within 8 years, we are all looking at the world through our mobile phone, through our smartphone. If you take this away from your friend or from your children or from your colleague, he will get nervous. He will be ill within 3 hours because he can't touch his mobile phone. And if I talk to younger people and I try to explain to them there was a life before a smartphone, they just shake their hands and they think this is not possible. But of course it is possible. We are available everywhere and all the time, wherever we are, through SMS, through internet, through email, through Skype, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, etc., etc. And you see here these connections. It became much easier to travel. Traveling became cheaper. And we also had less traveling restriction with visa and with immigration and with everything. Unfortunately, This is also the relation now to COVID. The fact that we are in such a global organization makes it also easier for the disease to be spread within days, not within weeks or months or years before. Now it is spread within days. Increased mobility, globalized world, connected online, always and everywhere. And unfortunately, including viruses. What are the changes in our profession? We have a lot of technical progress, a lot of automation, computer, software, artificial intelligence are all the current buzzwords we have to handle with. 30 years ago, our profession was mastering the instrument. Nowadays, the instrument is automized. Everybody can use the instrument. Now you have to master the whole system, not only the instrument, but you have to master the whole system from the beginning, from the planning, measurement, until the final result. Big data is a huge challenge. What is big data? Every day we are producing 2.5 quintillion bytes. Quintillion is a digit with 19 zeros. Followed? And during the last 2 years, mankind has produced and generated more information than in the entire history before. And this will continue. For example, when laser scanning started, people said, but everything is already measured. Yes, but it's not up to date. It's not current. It's not precise enough. It's not homogeneous enough. So what are we doing? So we are remeasuring it. Remeasuring and remeasuring. And this trend of producing data will continue. Big data means this is large and complex data, and we cannot work on it, and we cannot analyze it with our traditional techniques. Furthermore, our profession has changed. Let's take the example mapping. Here you see an example from my home country, Germany, and it is more specifically from former East Germany. On the left-hand side, you see the original map. This is the original map, and these are military facilities, and the authorities don't want it to show this, so they produced a published map where you can't see the military facilities. And when I say published, you could not, in the former German Democratic Republic of Germany, you could not buy a map. You had to write to the ministry and had to explain why you want, as a citizen, why you want to have a map, and maybe you got this one. So in former days, mapping was secret or limited access, only paper versions. It was expensive and it was out of date. How is the situation today? Here you see a Google 3D map model from the town where I'm living in Germany. Mapping today is a public good, digital product, very often free of charge, up to date, high quality, and there are nearly no blind spots. There are still some blind spots, but compared to the past, nearly no blind spots. Here you see the satellite program from the European Union, ESA, European Space Agency, and this is a family of satellites, and all the data is available free of charge. You can download the data which they are producing really more or less online. The problem is, or not the problem, it's more the challenge. You need a powerful computer, you need a powerful network connection because this data starts with 1.8 gigabytes. This is a smaller portion you can download. But you can download nearly everything and you can work on it. There is no limitation. There is nothing hidden. Let's talk about FIG over the last 30 years. FIG became really global. Until 1919, FIG was a very European-based organization, and we improved our performance due to our permanent office in Denmark. Of course, this permanent office is not free of charge. This costs money. We have to generate every year. And we became more democratic because we changed, for example, our voting system. Nowadays, a president like me, myself, I am elected as a person. I'm not elected via my organization. So it's a direct personal voting. So let me talk about my vision. What is surveying? Surveying is a modern profession acting worldwide for a better infrastructure for our society and our planet Earth. FIG wants to keep and even improve its role as a premier non-governmental organization that represents the interests of surveyors worldwide. The motto is volunteering for the future. Why is volunteering for the future important? I will explain very soon. It is because I found, at least in our society here, it is more and more difficult to find people who do volunteer work for our professional organization, for our home school, for our quarter where we are living, for our social activities. All the people, I often say, a lot of people, they want to download. Everybody wants to download information. But who wants to upload? Who is creating it? Who is maintaining it? And that's why volunteering for the future is important. And I'm pretty sure it's not only important for FIG, it's also important for your association in Taiwan. You also have to look for volunteers who are acting as president, commission chair, vice president, young surveyors responsible, and so on and so on. How can we volunteer? We can promote FIG. We can participate. We have to encourage and motivate others to participate in our events. We can contribute actively by giving presentations, writing publications. We can participate in the work of our commissions, working groups, networks, task forces. We can assume responsibility as the officer of a commission, a network, or task force. And of course, we can support the next generation of FIG members. And the whole thing of volunteering, you can do one by one on your national or maybe even regional level. It is necessary on all different levels. Why is volunteering for the future beneficial? I'm very convinced that if we volunteer for our federation, this is at the same time beneficial for our profession, for our society, and for our planet Earth. Because when we have a strong organization, we contribute to the needs of our society and to the needs of our planet at the same time. Excuse me. My council identified two major targets. The first one is making FIG fit for the future. This is a more internal task. And this means, and the second one is promoting the relevance of our profession together with our partners. We have an action plan for target one. We have installed a task force on governance, which is an internal group, which is following the task force on commission structure. We want to have our young surveyors better integrated into FIG because we found out the young surveyors are very active. They make nice meetings, but once they become a more mature surveyor, they leave the young surveyors group, but they do not come to our events, or only some of them. Then we have installed also a group 2028, develop long-term strategy. What is the future of FIG? And the question is, why 2028? Very simple. In the year 2028, FIG will celebrate 150 years. And I think then we should be fit for the future. We had already a first meeting last year in September, but now due to COVID, things and priorities have changed very much. We want to have stronger commissions and networks, and the FIG Foundation, there is a period of transition. The board of directors will change within the next 2 years. Action plan number 2, Sustainable Development Goals. They were declared in 2015, and they should be achieved by 2030. And out of these 17 goals, more of half of them have a relation to geodata, to location. Where does it take place? So we can contribute a lot. We have 17 goals, we have 169 targets, and we engineers, we love this. 230 indicators we can work on. And the question is, what can we do? We have a task force on sustainable development goals. And this task force is led by Paula Dijkstra from the Netherlands. And there are 2 sub-goals. The first one is to identify the goals where our profession has potentially the biggest impact. And the second one is to coordinate the activities regarding SDGs inside FIG. Let me talk about land administration as one contribution to the SDGs. I think our profession can really make a big contribution here regarding land administration. There is a famous publication which is called Fit for Purpose Land Administration from these 4 gentlemen together with World Bank. And what is a framework? The World Bank says only 30% of the land worldwide is registered in a thing like cadastre, so that the ownership, the size, and the content of the land is somewhere documented. Land registration is important for social and civil security, for peaceful living together, but also for economic benefits. When people who have unregistered land, they want to go to the bank and they need money, this is complicated and difficult. But if the land is registered, the bank is much more willing to give a loan. And at the end, there are less conflicts due to land. So we as a global community should be interested in raising this figure of 30% of the land worldwide is registered. We should raise this also with the Sustainable Development Goals. Let's take an ambitious target and let's say we want to raise this by another 30% until 2030. So we have another 10 years to go. And the question is there enough time and money for the implementation of a classical cadastre? And all of you who know what classical cadastre means, they would immediately say no. This will not work because the implementation of a cadastre is expensive, time-consuming, and an ongoing process. In Europe, we do this since 150 years. And if you ask somebody from the local cadastral office, and you ask him when is cadastre finished, he will immediately answer never. But in reality, he should be aware of that 99% of cadastre is in perfect condition. And now we talk about 70% who is not registered at all. So the fit for purpose is an interesting general approach, but it needs to be adapted to each single case. What is our role here? Our role as a surveying community. Yes, classical cadastre is too expensive and not fast enough. We need faster solutions, for example, based on the FFP approach. But this does not mean that the realization is always easy and without problems. Expectations from the political side are sometimes too high. Time, costs, maintenance, updates, and all these things. And there are also reservations in our own community regarding FFP. Some people say, this is not good, this is not real cadastre. What are our lessons learned? FFP does not replace classical cadastre. It is rather an extension. It is not a ready-to-use solution. We have to adapt it. We need best practice examples and textbooks. And there are rumors that surveyors do not act ethically correct, that lawyers do not act ethically correct, and that notaries do not act ethically correct. So we have to include ethical codex and training. What is our role here? If we, and I say we, the surveying and geospatial community, if we are not participating in this global process, it will happen without us. Like the discussion between Uber and taxi. The taxi drivers who think that Uber will disappear, they are wrong. If they do not cooperate and think about new models, due to Uber and due to their commercial model, the taxis will be vanished within 10 to 20 years. What is the role of FIG? We have to offer a platform for stakeholders. We need to be a link between stakeholders, and we have to build the capacity for new adapted approaches. Okay, so this was just one aspect of what happened over the last 30 years, what is important for me in my term of office, and I hope that this is also interesting for you. Let's come to the current situation. COVID-19 is affecting all and everything. Us as individuals, our families, our neighbors, parents, brothers, sons, sisters, daughters, our economy, our profession, and of course, also our associations on regional, national, and international level. In spring, or let me start, in January, we were preparing the Netherlands working week. In February, we had the first doubt that it will not be possible. In March, it was clear we can't organize it the normal way, but we could not stop it, we could not cancel it, because we had a contract with the venue, and if we would have canceled it from our side, FIG side, there would have been a tremendous financial impact. So we had tactically to wait until the Dutch government was not allowing events like ours. So we were able to cancel it in April, at the beginning of April, without a financial damage. And then we thought, oh yes, of course, 21, it will be over and we can come back to the normal organization. But today we have to learn this is not the case. The impact will last longer as originally thought, and we have for the moment no idea how long it will take. Regarding FIG and our events, let me be very clear. Even if COVID will be stopped in let's say in 3 days, this does not mean that the travel restrictions for all of us will be over in 5 days or in 5 weeks. The travel restriction we are living right now, they will last another 1 year or 1.5 years. So it is extremely difficult for us to organize the next meetings. Online and virtual meetings are effective, like our meeting. It is very convenient for me to sit here in my home office and interacting with you, but they do not replace real physical meetings. I would love to come to Taiwan, and maybe it is still possible during my presidency, which is within the next 2 years. But for the moment, I'm not very optimistic. I hope that I can come to your country. I hope, but I'm not very optimistic. It's not because I do not want to. It's more because I'm maybe not allowed to, due by your authorities, due by my authorities. But we will see. FIG is offering an international platform of exchange and meeting. And of course, we want to provide this also in the future. Welcome to the Working Week 2021. It will take place in June in the Netherlands. The current planning, we are currently planning a virtual working week. Maybe there is a small bit of presence, but it is not realistic for the moment. It is already clear that the working week will be virtual, mainly, and it is already clear that the General Assembly will be only virtual. So you all can participate in the General Assembly, which will take place probably in 2 parts. The voting will also be virtual. There are important elections for 2 new vice presidents, for 10 new chair-elects, and for 1 venue for the FIG Working Week 2024. We, as Council, we have decided that the voting, etc., will be digital. About the procedure, we are currently working on it. We don't know the details, but the general decision is taken. So welcome to the FIG Working Week 2021. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope it was interesting, and I'm happy to listen and to hear your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Stenger, for your very excellent about the second part of your speech. I think it's make very good progress because you just finished your first part, then the Vice President from the Taiwan Surveying and Mapping Association talk about the kind of organization in Taiwan. Then you have introduced some of your motion and what the FIG is going to do for the next several years. I think it's a very good innovation and motive way. Even for the next year, if we really cannot go to face, but still, I think Taiwan will join the virtual conference and try to join some of the, even for the voting strategies and organize some kind of representative to join your virtual meeting. Thank you again. Thank you. So let me ask if there are any question from the audience. Yes.
Mr. Hado from ISI. Mr. Hado from ISI has one question for you. The question is there a standard of practice, everything in surveying, where we can access? Is there standard for everything in surveying from FIG, standard in all the aspects of in surveying?
Dr. Stenger?
Professor Steiger?
Yes. I could not understand your question. Can you please repeat?
The question is there standard for everything in surveying? Everything. Is there a standard of the practice, everything in surveying?
Everything in surveying?
There's a set of standards for everything in surveying practice?
Okay. You asked me about standards of surveying, right?
Yes, a standard of surveying practice. This is a question from Mr. Hado from Indonesia.
There is not a global standard. There are on different, so if I understand your question correctly, you ask if there is standards, global standards for the weighing, right? Is this a question?
I will assume he's asking about if there are any kind of international global standard in the surveying practice, right? Yeah, in the surveying practice. So I think so. That's from my explanation.
Well, on technical, this is a good question and a difficult question. So surveying, I think you have to divide it in two parts. The one is the legal surveying for land administration, cadastre, etc. And the other one is technical surveying for construction and so on. On the land administration side, this is very often related to authorities and to national authorities, and they have their own written rules. Technical surveying, there are some standards, but again, not on the international level from ISO. There are some ISO standards regarding instruments and regarding how to describe the quality and precision of an instrument, but how to do a field survey, there is no international standard. I hope I could answer to the question.
I think so. So are there any questions from the audience or any person from the web? If there's not, we still have two other panelists can make some kind of comments or some discussion regarding your speech. So the second panelist is from National Taiwan University, the Professor Han. So I'll let Professor Han to have his comment.
Hi, good morning, Professor Steiger.
Yeah. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone in Taipei. This is Renyu Han from National Taiwan University, and now I'm also the the coordinator for the Education and Training Committee in the Chinese Federation of Surveying and Mapping. And I apologize for not preparing a PowerPoint file today. However, I would like to spend a few minutes introducing about what we do in this committee. The main goal of this committee is to ensure high quality education and certification of surveying professions in Taiwan. In order to achieve this goal, there are three major missions to be achieved. Okay. The first one, we will review the curriculum for surveying education, especially for the engineering students in universities and in colleges. We will also develop a proper curriculum using the latest technologies and ensure an efficient and quality education and training for future generation of surveying professions. Secondly, we will review the certification system for surveying-related professionals in Taiwan. Now, we have already a well-established certification system in this country. However, considering the fact that the new surveying technology keep developing and demands from industry is changing as well, we believe that the certification system require proper update at a certain interval. Finally, we will collect information regarding the job market and the career development of surveying professions in Taiwan. By understanding the supply and demand of human resources, proper action may thus be implemented. And we also plan to publish an annual report on the above three items every year. By this way, we think we can track and monitor the development of surveying professions in this country. If necessary, we will also provide suggestions to the government or educational authorities so that proper improvement can be implemented. As you can see, our mission is in good match with the Technical Commission 2 in FIG. So we have strong motivations and are willing to share our experience in this topic. Recently, we have developed a novel curriculum on teaching young professionals with modern surveying techniques. For example, we have introduced a UAV three-dimensional mapping technique in our university education for civil and surveying engineering students. We have also developed online surveying education system. It provides a virtual reality environment so that students can practice different surveying instruments, including level and the total station operations, and then the error behavior using this online tool. So this may also provide an alternative approach for teaching surveying practice courses, considering the current COVID-19 situation. So because this is online education tool, so everyone around the world with an internet access could be benefit from this system without being constrained by the COVID-19 control measure. So again, I believe that we have strong motivation to participate in the FIG working group related to the surveying education. And we are also willing to share our experience on utilizing modern technologies in the next generation of surveying education. And thank you for your listening.
Okay, so thanks for Professor Han from National Taiwan University. He mentioned about in Taiwan, lots of university and also association or organization, or even from the governmental office, they're all working on establish a new curriculum about education, especially for the surveying things. I think National Taiwan University has shared a very good experience and would love to share this kind of international experience in the future to join the commission number 2 in the FIG. I think that's as one of you mentioned about to be more active in the volunteer. I think Taiwan is showing our volunteering aspect toward the FIG activities. I think we have the third panelist, Dr. Shi from Jiao Tong University. So I think he can also make some very brief comments, and also because Dr. Shi is also in charge of the international affair in this Chinese Federation of Surveying Mapping. So I think he can make a very brief comment about this association and also what's our next regarding the collaboration with the FIG.
Yes, thank you, Jimmy. Professor Steiger, and I would like to compliment what Professor Han said. Professor Han is coordinator for the Education and Training Committee of CFSM. That's what he was talking about. And in the earlier session, we had some discussion about competence, about the capacity, but I think all the capacity and the competence are actually largely come from education. So how we standardize updated modern curriculum may be very important for our profession in the future. So may I invite you to address this issue from your perspective of Fit for the Future? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, so I think I know you have very limited time now, and also we're getting to close of our session. So I think if you can make some kind of very final briefing about, even for Dr. Shi, he was supposed to give some comment, but he was asking question to you. So if you can like have the final, a very final briefing regarding how we can work on together, I think it will be also benefit for all the audience today, the entire day in Taipei. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, it was a pleasure for me to present FIG and to show what are the current activities. It is good to see and to know that now, despite this COVID and everything, now we learn that online conferences, they really work. But it does not replace a physical meeting. But let's be realistic. For the next 12 months, it will not be possible to make a global meeting with a big group. But because even if we are able, and I hope we are able, even if we are able to master this disease, our politicians, our authorities, they will take their time to let us travel again. And we need also air flight companies who are offering flights. We need hotels who are reopening, etc., etc. So even under optimistic conditions, it will take time. This is sad, but this is reasonable. It makes no sense to risk the health of us and our colleagues and our friends and our families. So we have to live with the current situation. I am encouraging you, become part of FIG, become an active part, contact the commission chairs, contact the network chairs, contact the council, and become part of the family. We are non-governmental, we are non-political, we want to improve our profession. That's what we want to do. And I guess I have the impression you are in a good way, and I encourage you to continue.
Thank you. I think you made very, very good final remarks of the entire conference hosting for the entire day. Oh, okay. I think the power is going to off pretty soon, so...
Of course.
Yeah.
There is an observation.
May I make an observation?
Sure.
I think for participation, Taiwan should take up the FIG working week in one of the year, maybe 2024. I suggested.
Sure, I think
can help.
that's, yeah, good. Okay, I think we'll be able to discuss about that. I think for the Chinese Federation of Surveying Mapping, we'll be more than happy to host some kind of international meetings or even working weeks, yeah, in Taiwan. I think this.
Yeah, we have experience holding working week in Hong Kong in 2007. We can share with that to you.
Good, thank you.
And FIG as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
Rudolph.
Thank you. I think we can discuss that
Thank you, Tien.
later. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rudolph.
So I think it's about time now. I think we're probably only 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Are there any final questions from the audience or from any person on the web regarding not only by this speech but also for the entire day? Like this morning, we have the Asian representative and also the person from Indonesia talk about some of the surveying and mapping things, issues in different countries, and sharing all the experience with the local Taiwanese expertise. So are there any more questions? Let me ask the final one. If there's not, okay, so I think from the audience of this room, we can give ourselves and also give some noise to all the person who are still on the web using. Oh, Steiger, you have one more thing to say? Yes.
Yeah, a very last word.
Sure.
Keep distance, stay healthy.
Yes.
Stay positive.
Yep. Yep. Good. Keep distancing and healthy. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's most important.
Bye-bye.
Okay, take care.
Thank
So
you, Mr.
let's give the
President.
final applause to
Thank you,
everyone.
Tien.
Okay.
Thank you, Tien.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
场次就是综合讨论。那我是不是就请由我们的副会长王启峰先生来主持今天我们的最后讨论？
感谢石老师哈，跟各位哈，今天的针对这个论坛哈，其实我们这个论坛哈，其实举办的还蛮充足的啦哈。那很感谢哈，今天参与的各位，还有相关的一个工作人员哈。那既然大家到这里哈，然后针对我们这个参与哈国际组织的一个部分哈，我想大家有没有什么意见想发表一下哈？大家共同哈来思考一下哈，甚至给大家参考一下哈。我想，假如没有的，我们今天那个内政部的长官也在了哈，他们都默默的。我不是要请他说话，我只是说哈，假如我们有一些意见，其实他听得到，他会带回去哈，到 我们司里面哈，那个部里面哈，去这个去把这个我们的想法带给我们的长官这样子哈。大家有没有什么我想我们不特别去那个就是说针对这个部分。
是那个主持人啊，还有施老师，还有各位在座，我想那个台湾这边一直我们其实都很想加入这种国际性的组织啦，因为我们在很多的一些政治上面，其实很容易受到一些打压了。那有的事情真的不容易做，但从学术界，从这种非政府的这种组织里面，台湾其实很容易去做一些好的呈现。但是要进这种国际组织，实际上是要有一些策略性的，其实是要有一些策略。那策略是第一个是要打集体仗，就是要有就产官学合起来，然后要有人带着。那 FIG 我是觉得这个组织，因为它算是很正式的，也算是联合国所承认的一个非政府的一个组织，那跟全世界这种测绘都非常有关。那台湾的测绘业其实非常的强，真的非常强，从学校这种公司的还有很多的这部分，如果把这个测绘再跟其他的这种空间资讯再整合起来，像他们里面，你看它这个 Commission 10个里面，包含 Smart City， 包含这些都在里面。其实 Big Data 什么，它全部在里面，所以它包含的其实非常的广。那我倒觉得我们是应该可以去挑1、2个主题，比如像刚刚那个韩老师那边，从台大那边走那 Commission 2，那个可能就有机会了。那就是把几个，那 Commission 2当然除了台大之外，你包含像其他的学校，生物方法大，我们也在做很多的这种空间资讯一些教学，像这些都可以合着，那甚至也在开一些 MOOCs 的一些课程。那这些如果合着起来，其实力量会比较大。就是我们不需要去打10个，因为做不到。可能挑个2个或3个，每一个能够有哪一位来帮忙主带，那这样来集中。我是觉得假以时日，就算不是 Commission 的 Chair， 但至少 Co-Chair 或是一些发声的方式，或是组成一个像 Working Group 的方式，会比较容易了。那这样慢慢会在国际组织里面比较受到一些重视，因为你要就像刚刚那个我是发。Steiner 就是像刚刚他讲的，就是你反正就是要 volunteering 啦，就是你就是要志愿啦，然后就是要比较常去发声啦，就多讲嘛，反正就多曝光多讲，人家才知道你是谁，对啊，所以可能会建议说中华测绘这边，那如果司里面这边可以一直来这样帮助的话，像司也很鼓励嘛，司在。过去几次像这种会议，像司长自己本身都会带着头这样一起来参加，所以如果说司啊，那今天那国土测绘中心的主任也在嘛，那我们也希望国土测绘中心这边也可以带着头一起这样，对，那这样就是官方的，然后产业界的，然后今天很多产业界的几位公司老板也都在，那学术界这样一起合起来，我们去主要针对几个 task force， 或者是像 commission 那边挑出来。那集中一些力量，那几年，像他刚刚也讲了，如果可能的话，未来 Working Weeks 就直接在台湾来办，我觉得也不是不可能啊，也不是不可能啊，对啊，也不是不可能啊。之前的时候，台湾也办过一些国际性的东西，也不是没有办过啊，所以也4年前嘛 ，GSDI 那时候是在那部资讯中心的支持之下，那个房地产业协会这边也把 GSDI 也在。那个南港那个展览厅，那个办理，那个办理也是非常的大，那个也是国际性的、啊，那个当时也没有人想 GSDI 台湾可以把它接下来，还也是接下来也办了，所以台湾不会办不起来，是可以办了，只是要准备，要有方式了。我是觉得是测绘就是整个测绘协会这边其实是可以一起努力啊，对啊。
举办了这个会议哦，尤其是内政部的一个支持。那刚刚我也收到那个早上 AFRAG 的 Randy 的 message 哈，他也非常感谢大家邀请他，他觉得参与这个会议他也很荣幸。那另外他也提醒说，像我们参与这个国际会议的话，像这些 speaker 啊，是不是要给他一个 certificate？ 好，我想说这部分给他做到，因为未来他们也会，尤其他们东南亚ASEAN的这边都会要有这个 point。好，这些提出来反而可以增加我们这个国际会议的一个能见度了。好，谢谢。
谢谢志喜。我这边个人要特别感谢志喜，就是 Asian Flag 的 session， 就这个场次基本上都是 高世协他帮忙联系，也是他个人的人脉。我们是不是大家给他一个掌声？
谢谢大家。
他昨天晚上就住到福华，对，这点我其实我也想，不过我想还是留在家里比较舒服一点，要跟他一起住。那个高世喜是他夫人陪他来的，
夫人陪你。
您假如说哪一天你跟你夫人出去的时候，你大概不会想要我。
对对对。
好，那你可以选择把点心盒带回去，或者说把点心盒吃完以后再去吃晚餐。好，那我想不知道大家还没有什么其他的建议或意见，因为原则上来说，我想这个就像刚才我稍微讲一下这整个的发展的故事。那在我刚回台湾的时候，我在 FIG， 我第一次参加 FIG 在华盛顿，那时候是我刚刚毕业没多久的事情。那我回台湾以后，大家就基本上就跟历届的地震师长建议说参加 FIG。但真正在王进秀参事担任师长的时候，获得了认同，所以我个人对王前师长是十分感念，就这件事情。那在2014年的时候，那时候卢尔森他担任地级测量的理事长，那他认为说要加入 FIG， 那时候还没有地震师的支持。那时候我去，那时候是张志海当选的那一年。那张志海告诉我一件事情，就是说重要的不是 membership， 重要的是 participation。然后你去了，你在那里，你做了事了，你参与了，别人知道你。你假如只有一个 membership， 没有任何人知道你，所以那是没有用处的，你就是交了钱而已。所以这张志海的角度，他当然这个角度有他不得已的苦衷啊，因为他不能够那么容易去处理我们的入会的这种申请。但是张志海之后又过了，那后来我们到伊斯坦堡的时候，就是王前师长的支持，那我们那时候好像是林老生老师，那跟部里面同仁有去参与。我想 FIG 主要的状况不是说，我个人认为不是说王前师长支持测量，我相信他是很支持测量。但是在 FIG 里面，假如说大家稍微注意一下，他第9委员会其实是 Land Evaluation， 也就是说整个的地震师的业务其实是在 FIG 的它的 scope 下面，在它的涵盖下面，因为它主要强调是土地管理。那我记得 FIG 在2014年我参与的时候，很强调一件事情是人权就是 humanity， 在强调是这件事情。因为所有的 property 的起源来自于土地的管理跟土地资源的分配，所以这个部分我觉得倒不是说我们今天要去争取国际的这种曝光度啊等等的这些东西，而且我觉得这实际上是本身是很有意涵的，这是跟人性跟我们作为一个人有关的。那我们大概整个在 FIG 就今天社会联合会有提供各位一篇我自己写的一个介绍，那大概总共有10个委员会，所以我很建议各位就是大家看看这个委员会有哪一些是适合于个人发展的，那也许可能可以我们可以选择性的参与。那倒不见得，我个人觉得倒不见得是要去竞选或者说做什么，但是我们做点事，然后我们作为参与，我们其实从另外一个方面来说。像我个人来说的话，就是在 Commission for Hydrography 里面我得到很多的知识，就是前段时间做了一些海测的事情。那比如说像 ellipsoid 的测水深，就是不再是测水深的问题，而是测水底地形的概念。这种东西其实是 FIG 提出来的一个 guidebook。所以我想在整个这个架构里面，我们台湾测量的发展也许会往这个比较正确，不必碰撞撞的一个方向走，因为这是大家已经走出来一条路。所以我觉得参与这些会议、参与这些活动， 不只是对争取所谓这个国际的曝光度有关，其实真正重要的是对我们的社会界、对我们台湾自己，然后以及对于国际社会，其实都是有帮助的。这是我个人的这么推动30年、快30年的，其实心里面真正想说的，其实不是在争取什么，跟人要去竞争，说我要赢谁。我想这个是很不重要的事情。好，那这是我想要表达的，谢谢各位。
好，很感谢那个哈，我知道待会这里哈，我们那个韩老师哈，这个教育训练委员会还在这里会运用这个场地。那我是不是可以请大家哈，这个配合一件事，就我们到外面哈，那个我们有个背板哈，一起来照个相这样子哈，好，到此留念一下这样子。既然来了哈，谢谢各位。那刚哈有几位讲的这个东西，我们会把它记录下来哈，我们往后持续就要推动哈，这是一个持续推动的一个事哈。